Hey everybody, making a guide video. I feel like these are becoming less and less needed now that folks are really starting to figure out how to submit assignments and work this whole Schoology thing. But down here at the bottom, your most recent task is being called Juliet's Potion Concerns Writing Assignment, and directions essentially are to choose an adjective that you think best describes the majority of Juliet's potion concerns, and then to support that adjective or the selection of that adjective with evidence from the text. Speaking of the text, over in this other window in the Romeo and Juliet folder, the Juliet and her potion concerns text and writing task, that document, is where the evidence comes from. And you've already done a little bit of this work, given that you have taken the close reading challenge with the 12 questions. So the next step for you is to choose probably 3 pieces of evidence to support the one adjective you think best describes the majority of her concerns. And the task is, well, it's over here. I do that all the time. What if I just need to scroll better? I don't know. Here it is. So this asks you to support that adjective, the claim, your adjective, with appropriately analyzed text evidence borrowed from the passage. And the reason why it says appropriately analyzed text evidence borrowed from the passage, in that down here in the rubric, it's worth 5 points. It says you need to identify and analyze how one writing strategy used by the author helps develop the thesis or the adjective. So my suggestion to you is you write about language use or diction. In fact, it's down here. There's lots of different ways you can do it. Here are some possibilities, and there's even an example here just for you to lean on and maybe even learn from. Also on the rubric, it's asking you, and even says so right here in the be sure to's, it says that you need to be able to acknowledge an argument the opposition might reasonably make. And what that essentially does is it allows you to be not a narrow-minded arguer, but one who is open-minded, that you could see how someone might look at something from a certain perspective, even though it's not the perspective that you're arguing. Now, you're not making the other side's argument for them in this case. You're just acknowledging the fact that there are other arguments out there that could very well be reasonable or rational. And there are some examples about acknowledging the opposition here in terms of language. And these ones are good, and you can kind of use them to fit your need. Anyway, and going back to my other tab, and if you click on the assignment, the actual assignment, looks just like you would submitting any other assignment. The guide video, which I'm making right now, will be right here. The directions are there. The materials are there, but you already know where it is. The document is in the Romeo and Juliet materials folder. So when you're ready, my suggestion to you is that, well, maybe you tackle the writing elsewhere where you can spend some time doing the writing, whether or not that means typing in notes, or whatever it is that you can end up doing. I don't know how you could type on an iPad. It would drive me crazy. But if you have a keyboard, that's great. If you're one of those people who can speak to text to make things go faster, and you can just go back and edit it, that's great as well. But I would work on making the writing perfect elsewhere, and then importing it maybe by a copy and paste sort of thing into submitting it. Whether or not you take a picture of it and then upload it, or you go straight to the creation and paste it right in, and then submit it and be done. And part of the reason why you may want to make it perfect elsewhere is because if you understand this as well as I do, you're being asked to present text evidence from some poetry, and you're going to have to format it a certain way depending whether or not you're dealing with a whole or a partial line or multiple consecutive lines, or you're working from a block quotation. So anyway, this is the task right here. This is the rubric right here. And here's some examples and some help for accomplishing it. There's no due date on it, but you'll just do it the next time you get a chance. Questions? No? Okay. Good luck.